Okay, so notes Maya 7. We're going to be talking about. Oh, I got to turn my volume down over there. We're going to be talking about today two things. One is the poly count, the other is the what we call merge function. Now, the poly count is, if you break it down into its two constituent roots, a simple concept: poly and count. So a poly, again, just referring to the term polygons. So a face of some particular size or shape. Okay, and then count. How many of them are there? So literally, how many polygons are there? So our poly count is found in the display menu for heads up display. And then you choose the poly count. So when you have the poly count active, so it's display, heads up display, poly count. And it looks like this in the top left corner. Oops. So one thing to note, folks, when it comes to the assignment, I will know whether or not you paid attention if I come over and you ask me for help and this isn't on. Okay, if you don't have the poly count on, I know you're not paying attention, because it's the first thing that you're going to do for the next assignment is to display your poly count. So please take this moment to internalize this in your brain so that when I tell you, I don't have to look at you like a dog that I caught that pooped on the carpet. Okay, poly count, important. Count in the polys, do it. Okay, so when you see this, what you are seeing is a representation of the number of vertices, edges, faces, triangles, and UVs that are currently present in this scene, as well as what are currently selected. So that is the column on the left, what there is in the whole scene. Column in the middle, that is how many oh no, I think these are the ones in the scene. Right? Alright, well, no, it is selection. Okay. Yeah. I think this is if I have specific components in my selection. Got it. Scene, object, selection. Brain, using it. So, back to the notes, just so we can copy this in. Now, why? Why show you this today? I mean, this is great and all, but there has to be a reason why I'm asking or telling you about the poly count. So, our poly count shows us how many of each component we have in our current selection, which is useful when you're doing things like what we call welding or merging vertices together. So if you have two vertices that you're expecting to fuse together, your end result selection should have one vertice. So if you have 8 vertices that you're merging into 4 vertices, you'll know if you did it correctly. After you run your merge operation, you see that little number in your poly count go from 2 to 1, 8 to 4, whatever the correct number is. This is one of those things where you actually are required to activate your brain. Okay, you need to be smarter than Maya. This is a tool. You are the operator. Operate the tool. Okay? So, how is your poly count helpful when welding vertices together? So, your poly count displays the amount of vertices in your selection. Merging the vertices will successfully merge whatever number of vertices down into one. So, in this case, you may have 3 vertices that are overlapping that become 1, which you will see in a second with the example. So, just keep in mind, you must be smarter than Maya. So know what your expected outcome is. If you have 12 edges that are going to be seamed together with the other 12 edges, that means your 24 vertices from those 2 sets of edges should now become 12. I'm assuming we can all do basic mathematics. So that brings us to merge and merge to center. They do essentially exactly what they describe. So the merge tool, that is simply for any selected vertices, merges nearby verts together if they fall within a specified threshold. That is to say, you can decide how close the vertices need to be in order for them to merge. For most, if not all merge operations you do, typically you're going to be making sure that vertices are directly on top of each other, or otherwise called snapped together. That's why we practiced snapping with things like the wagon. So you'll snap some vertices together. You'll be confident that they are on top of each other in Maya space. You run your merge operation. Boom, they become permanently one vertice. Now merge to center does exactly what it describes. It does the same thing, except instead of checking to see if they are in a certain area before it tries to merge them, when you merge to center, you are implicitly saying move them from wherever they are to the volumetric center of this selection and merge them at that point. So what that would look like, because this will be coming up in tomorrow's assignment, or the assignment that goes with Maya 8, I should say. If I were to say delete all these faces here, and I select this loop here and hit extrude, so I have all these faces that I've created with edges and vertices here. If I just go edit mesh, merge to center, boom, snaps them straight to the center and combines them. Now, if I were to do the similar thing down here, extrude, do this, okay, I can go into vertex mode and select these, not that one. If I go to merge, nothing happens, because merge is saying, hey, is it within 1,000th of a unit with the other vertice? No? Okay, then I do nothing. Yes? Okay, I merge. So, there are two different ways to merge. Either merge to center, which will make them all collapse to the center. Oops, I accidentally selected one on the far side. Yeah, so again, be careful. Know what's in your selection before you do those kind of things. So there you go. Merge to center. Or just regular merge, in which case it's going to check and see. Like if I select all of these and I hit merge, nothing happens because they're not close enough together to do anything. Alright. Let me flip back to the notes. So how does merge and merge to center differ? Merge only moves the vertices if they're close enough before you use merge. But with merge to center, it always is going to move the vertices if they need to be moved to get to that combine at the center, that merging at the center point. So with merge to center, you are saying it is okay to move this vertice if needed to make it merge. Merge just by itself, it is understood that it'll only merge the vertices if they are close enough as it is. All right, so real briefly, actually, you know what? Let me pause real quick. Okay, so using merge. So let's just take a look at what we have cooking in our Rubik's rebuild scene. So I've given you the 6 sides of a Rubik's Cube. You are going to do a very simple task of using your edit pivot to snap the pivot point to one of the many corners on these, or one of the 4 corners, I should say. And you're going to assemble a Rubik's Cube from these 6 sides. You're basically going to glue them all together. Additionally, merge can only be done between objects that are done within the same object. So I have 6 separate objects here, and once I get them snapped together using the snapping of my pivot points, I'll need to combine the objects, and then I can merge them. So to start, I'm going to just take my white section here. I'm going to hold X for snap to grid. I'm going to snap it right into the center of the grid just because I'm extra like that. And okay, it's on the origin. So first thing I'm going to do is flip this over because it is the bottom. So on the z-axis, I'm just going to hit it with that 180. Boom. Done. Got it. So next step, I'm going to take this green side. I'm going to snap the green side right here. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is rotate it 90 degrees. Looking at my gimbal, it's telling me that the red axis is this way. X is the red axis, so 90 degrees. Boom. Next thing I'm going to do, take my move tool. I want to hold D to move my pivot, V for snap to vertex, and snap my pivot point to the bottom left corner. Now that it's snapped there, hold V, snap to vertex, and snap it to that corner. All right, cool. Next step. So I need to get this rotated 90, or in this case, negative 90 degrees on the Z for this object. Same concept, move tool, edit pivot, snap to vertex, bottom corner, same thing, hold V for snap to vert, snap it to the bottom corner. Doing good so far. This one, another 90 degrees on the X, this time negative 90. Great. Move tool. Snap your pivot to the bottom. Snap to the bottom of the Rubik's Cube. Alright, I'm going to just sneak over to this one and take rotate tool this direction, so 90 degrees. And snap my pivot point to the bottom. There we go. And last one, no rotates, just move my pivot point. Boom. Boom. Okay. So, not quite done. Because these are not connected. So if I try and switch this into vertex mode and merge, nothing happens because this is only one object. I need to combine all of these objects together before they will merge. Now, I'm just going to select these in object mode, right? Mesh and combine. So now, these are one object. I'm going to just briefly show you guys on 3. So I hit 3, and you'll notice that these edges across the top are still very sharp, whereas you can see the rest of the object using the smooth. This is the smooth mesh mode that we spoke about earlier this month. So you can see how it's round on most of the parts except for the edges, and that's because if I hit my 2 mode, the smooth mesh preview. So again, we have sharp corners here, but these edges are not seamed together. They are still, if I double click on this, you'll see considered to be separate shapes. They have not been connected via merge. So the final step, select all of your vertices on your object. Yes, all of them. Edit mesh and merge. Now, again, we use merge because merge is only looking for vertices that fall within our distance threshold to connect them. If I did merge the center, it makes a singularity. No. So, edit mesh, merge, and now you'll see, folks, if I switch back into object mode, and I hit 3, you'll see that the corners of my Rubik's Cube are now round because the edges have now been seamed together so you can actually smooth the edges of this mesh. So there's our true view, there's our smooth mesh mode view. So you can basically, for your own peace of mind, if you hit 3 when you believe that you are done and your cube looks nice and smooth, you have done it right. Okay? So that is a completed Rubik's rebuild. Obviously, you can turn it into me in either the normal mode 1 or 3, but I point out how the smooth mesh mode is going to help you figure out whether or not you've done the merge correctly. Okay? So that is it. That's doing the Rubik's Rebuild. Questions, comments, concerns? All right, cool.